Shit. 7-5 suited, I call in the top right. Queen Jack suited defend as well. Yeah. Yeah, so call in top right. Basically your hand's gonna, you got quite good implied odds against two players with like a suited one gapper. Plus you're in the big blind, so you have to call a much cheaper price. So yeah, that's why I would call there. Queen Jack obviously we call. Pocket nines can see bet. You got the 9 of spades, so you block some flush draws. I probably would still bet because he's a short stacker. He's probably going to call you with like a pair of 7s for 2 streets anyway, but I don't mind checking back either. The turn is a good spot to lead because he might not give you credit for a jack if he's got like pocket 9s or worse, and likewise if he's got queens or better, then he might check because he's scared of you having a jack, so something to consider. So yeah, the queen jack I think is a good sizing. Yeah. Pocket 3s you can peel once and then fold. I kind of missed the action in the pocket 9's hand, but looks like you played it defensively and he bluffed into you. Yeah, so when you check back, you've got to call that. And when he pots it, I mean, you are just bluff catching. But I think your hand's strong enough to call quite easily. There's not a whole lot that beats you, especially when he pots it and overbets it. It kind of looks like a desperate bluff. So yeah, 9-10 off, you can't defend that. Yeah, that's a snap fold. So yeah, set mining with pocket 3s, there's a lot of people behind you who might come along. If you're in the small blind, I'd probably advocate folding just because the hand's not going to play that easily, assuming it was going to be like a heads up pot. But given there's so many people behind and you're going to be in position against the original racer, I think calling here is fine. Okay, so you've elected to fold. I don't hate it, but because it's 10 and L and I've got no reads on the guy, I'm just going to assume he's not going to be playing amazingly and that we have more implied odds against, say, like a good solid reg that we have reads on, but maybe because he's an unknown, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he might be a solid player, which is fair enough. I personally just don't give anyone credit unless I've got a read on them, so just me looking at this video now, I would have called there, but it's probably not tragic to fold. Pocket deuces, I'd still open on 10 and L full ring. Queen Jack suited against an under the gun. It's not going to go multi-way, so I think this is a fold. You're going to be out of position with a marginal hand. Yeah, they seem to play quite tight pre-flop, which is probably a good thing. 7-8 off, we can't defend. Queen 8 off in the bottom left, I'd open that. Yeah, 9-7 suited is not strong enough to flat. So yeah, definitely going to be squeezing here. I'd make it like 90 cents. So yeah, if you were in position, if you were on the button, I think 80 cents would be fine. But because you're out of position, just make it like 10 cents more, one big blind more, or one or two big blinds more. I honestly think your hand is strong enough just to bet half pot and just jam any river or call any raise. You've got the gut shot, you've got backdoor spades. Then this guy's a short stack fish, he's going to pay off with a jack or a 10 or some weird draw. So yeah, you seem to have the same idea. Yeah, you're check calling the street all day. Yeah. And perfect, yeah. So king 8 off, I'd open in the cutoff. A7 suited, it's probably like, I think this is a fold. Yeah, it's probably slightly too loose. I think I'd open like ace 9 suited at a push there. I think ace 10 suited might be recommended, but yeah. And against the raise, obviously we fold, so it dominated a lot. Ace 10 off, I personally would open it there. I just think there's going to be enough fish on the table who will call with worse aces and worse 10s. But folding's probably not tragic either. Suited ace here, we're definitely calling. King 10 suited, if someone else calls, I think we can call. Even if they don't call, I'd probably still call anyway. For the same reason I said earlier, that I don't give anyone respect until I've got a read on them. So yeah, your HUD's not working, which is a shame. I don't know why, but you could even potentially through that bluff in the top left, because your hand isn't really strong to flat, because you are dominated a lot, but your hand does have decent equity. So yeah, just something to consider. Yeah, I don't mind the fold. Suited aces fold. So this king hand looked kind of interesting. Two limps. Check through. Check, check. And then he bets 80 cents. Yeah, that's fine. So pocket fives will get squeezed by. If you have your HUD up and you see someone who's 3-betting quite a lot, squeezing quite a lot, it can become more profitable to occasionally just flat call a big hand here, like queens, ace king, kings or aces. But you probably don't see that much 3-bet squeezing all that much, especially out of the blinds. So not all the time, but if you know that there's someone in the blinds who's definitely going to do it quite a lot, then just think about it some of the time, just to trap them. Because it gives you protection, because this guy's going to fold a lot, and you're always going to have a weak hand here. 5-6 suited, we're definitely going to defend in the top left. So once this guy calls, you can set mine. You're calling $1, and there's like $12 back for everyone. Yeah, I'd call here, and if you spike a set, then you're golden. 5-6 fold. Yeah, ace-8 offsuit here is a fold. You just have so much reverse implied odds. If it was suited, obviously we call, but this is a fold. So you flop pretty good in the top right, so I'm just expecting you to see bet like 70%. Yeah, that's fine. Looks like a quite competent player, like he's got a good bet sizing. I don't hate you just raising and getting it in case he's got like ace 10 of diamonds, some ace of diamonds, draw, 9-10, king 10. But I also don't mind you flatting and just trying to outplay him post flop, because if he's readless, I mean, I'd lean towards putting on a big value hand like queen jack or pocket threes. There's not many combinations of them, but I don't really see him raising. I don't see many like unknowns raising as a bluff here. Not a 10 and L anyway. So yeah, they're pretty close decisions, raising and calling a jam, and just flatting and just outplaying him. It kind of depends on your read on this player. Obviously we don't have any right now, but just for future, you need to know what sort of hands they do this on wet boards. So yeah, you hovered over the raise button and then you went for the call. I think that's fine. They're like such close decisions that it doesn't really matter what you pick. And we're never folding once the diamond comes in. Pocket nines. Again, it would be useful to have a read on this guy. He seems to be quite competent because he's 3-betting quite large. I wouldn't hate like 4-bet fold, because your hand's kind of too strong to fold outright. And it's not going to play well when you flat. You don't have any blockers though, that's the only thing. So again, it would help to have a read to see how much he's 3-betting out of the blinds. You can flat and hope this guy comes along, rake 1. That's kind of a tricky spot. It seems like there's quite a lot of 3-betting at 10 and L. So I wasn't expecting this much, to be honest. So yeah, it would help to have a read on rake 1. If he's a fish, I'd be way more inclined to flat. And if this guy's 3-betting too much, then I'd like a 4-bet maybe. So yeah, just call with the flush. You're not getting much value out of anything worse. When he bets this small, I do think we got the best hand. Like all of the time, I do think the nut flush will just jam. So I think you should jam here. Yeah, I think this is all in and it's not close. Yeah, so if he's a sensible player, he shouldn't call you all in, but he might trick himself into thinking he's priced in case you're ever bluffing, which you're probably not. Also, I'd note on him that he raised top pair second kicker on the flop on a really wet board. It's generally a pretty bad play from him, because when he doesn't check raise you in future, you know he doesn't have top pair second kicker, like hands like that, strong top pair hands. Basically means you can barrel the turn, barrel the river pretty hard, and he's not going to have many bluff catching hands. King queen off, I just open it. Yeah, I like this bet sizing. On the queen 7 suited hand, when you flopped massive, you bet smaller. I think that's good because your hand is so crushing that board so hard. This one you're a bit more behind, you don't have the ace of hearts, so you're betting bigger. I think that's a really good thing. Plus this board hits the small blinds range quite hard, like queen jack, king jack, jack 10 suited, 8-9, 9-10, stuff like that. So I do think you're getting called a lot here. I think top left is fine. So this guy's a short stack. I think calling and just playing pit or fold post flop against this fish is probably fine. If you hit a jack or an ace, I think we're going with it. Pocket aces top right, I think we check back. You don't want to bet and get check raised. To be honest, tough spot with aces. So just check back and then call most rivers. You are getting called by a lot more draws than some 9x, but he does have a lot of jacks in his range, so just something to consider. I don't hate the bet. Like Queen 10's not going to fold, but you can't stand, your hand can't face a check raise. And on the top left, because you block King Queen and 8 Queen if he was ever going to have that, I think I like a double barrel just because you've got quite a good flush draw and you've got an open-ended straight draw. So when your equity improves, I generally go for the double barrel, and when it bricks, then I don't. So if it was like a deuce of diamonds, then I wouldn't barrel. Yeah, that's why I barrel this one again. So yeah, I mean the top right aces, I think you folded, right? He called. Okay, so he had sixes. Not really sure what he's sticking around for. He makes a good bluff and you make a good call. Obviously every draw bricked, so there's one more reason to call. I'm not sure I would make that call personally. Obviously having a read would help, but yeah, I mean it's close because every draw bricked, but even a 9 and a jack can value bet that river. Yeah. Wait, hang on. Because you bet the turn actually, so it's a bit different. So he did donk bets. Yeah, because so I assume that you checked the turn, but obviously you did go for the double barrel. So when you double barrel, you can easily have a jack in your range. So even if he had a 9 here, he shouldn't be betting like this. So I think that makes it an easier hero call. It looks way more like a busted draw than a jack or a 9. So yeah, I think calling is much more easier here. Yeah, so if you're planning on check calling a bet of that size on this street, you may as well just bet it yourself, because it gives you fold equity, and you get to see the next card for the same price. So that's why I'd definitely double barrel that, if your plan was to check call. The ace jack hand. So you checked it over to him and called a bet. Yeah, I really don't like a check call here. Because once you check call this, you're just priced in all the time on the river. Like, what's your plan here? You're facing a third of the pot bet. You've got ace jack high. Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to decide on the flop whether you're going with the hand or not. Having a read would be good. I personally would just fold the flop, just because there's no good turn card. You got no backdoor equity, no like backdoor flush draw. So yeah, just decide on the flop what your plan is and go with it. Don't really like your value bet here. I think you're getting value owned quite a bit. Okay, yeah, so you go for the check. I think that's correct. It's going to be a tough decision. He's going to have a lot of 2 pairs. Yeah, I don't like this line. I prefer a bet on the turn, just to make fold out some like weird 9s. Maybe get values from some weird 7-8 hand, and you've got a lot of equity in the flush draw and the gut shot. And I mean, this call, you only need to be right 25% of the time, but I think you are beat a lot here, and just having a read would help. So he had a set. Yeah, I mean the river's close. I personally am not sure I'd be able to do it, just because I don't know. There's just so many hands that beat you. Jack 10, Jack 9, pocket 9s, pocket jacks, pocket 10, Ace 10, Ace Jack, Ace 9. king queen. You block king queen, but that's about it. And block some flush draws, but you're beaten by a lot there. So yeah, ace deuce here. Okay, against the fish, I think flatting's fine and just outplaying post flop. Against the regular, it's definitely a candidate hand to 3-bet bluff. Just because it's not really strong enough to flat, really. Check call ace queen with backdoor spades. I think that's fine. So yeah, just check and hope you got the best hand. Bottom left, just flat call. You've really under-repped your hand, and I think he's bluffing into you. But he might even have kings or queens. So just call. Raising, he might just decide not to give you much respect, but I don't really like the raise. I prefer to raise the river when like the hearts miss or something. I do think he's stabbing here a lot, or he's got a medium strength hand, like a 7. So I think raising the river's better. Yeah, I think that 3-bet with ace king's fine in terms of the sizing. Suited ace we're going to come along. And here I'm just never folding, so just jam it in. He does look ridiculously strong, but your hand's too under-repped, and you're only losing to ace7, ace5, pocket 7s, pocket 5s. So the heart might save you some money. He might decide not to raise. I think you should be raising the ace queen here. His raise is too small, so it looks like a bit of a weak player. So definitely make it like $1 here. Yeah, so he was bluffing into you, and he did for some reason go for the 3-bet on the flop. I definitely didn't see a bluff in his range when he 3-bet the flop. I mean, sure, he's a short stack fish, but that normally means they're going to be loose passive rather than click back aggressive sort of style. Yeah, I guess flatting kept in his like one bluff or however much he's bluffing there. So yeah, it worked out a treat. I would just jam just because there's 2 flush draws out there. And yeah, when he clicks it back on the flop, he looks pretty committed. So you're going for a check raise on a wet board, blind versus blind. I quite like this play actually because it's quite short stacked. I'd definitely make it bigger. He's priced in with a lot of his draws right now. I'd probably just make it $1.20 and then just take it from there. Yeah, so we're definitely calling this. Yeah, well played. Yeah, you got the heart flush draw here, so definitely worth barreling. Now just check fold into 2 people. Ace6. I think you tried to click fold here, but that's definitely open on the button. And here I'd make it like $1.30. $1, yeah, $1.30 is good. So yeah, just when you're 3-betting out of position, just make it like an extra big blind or 2. Okay, this is a pretty good board for you to check call on. It's like lots of hands ace flatting here, like king queen, pocket 9s, jack 10 suited, jack queen suited. They've got like loads of equity against you, and you're not really happy betting and getting it on this board. I think that would be a big mistake. So I think check calling is the best play on this flop. So you see bet and take it down. I just think check calling is better there because there's a lot of, well, there's just so many bad cards on the turn. You don't want to get married to your top pair, top kicker hand on a really wet board where you don't have good like street projection on the turn and the river. Just play it a bit more slower. Yeah, king jack off is probably a fold there. I normally play 6 max, so the under the gun positions are slightly different. I don't hate just a check give up here, because you've got absolutely no equity, and the jack and the 10 hit the big blind's calling range pretty hard. Yeah, so you decide the same thing. King queen suited, I think that's definitely strong enough to open here. It's close here whether to call or not. I think call, just because you're getting a really good price and just don't get married to an ace. So I make this 70 cents here. I just think 60 is too small given the stack sizes. Like given he min raised, you need to get more of the like money in pre-flop. So normally if he 3x'd it, you'd be betting 90 cents or $1. You're just going to set up some weird stack sizes where you can still set mine profitably. So yeah, to make up for this, in a 3-bet pot, normally in a big 3-bet pot, you normally bet like half pot, but in this situation you need to bet a bit more, like 60%, 70% to make sure you get stacks in. So 65% is probably better. Yeah, so you go for the bigger sizing, which is fine. Your hands just kind of face up, that's the only problem. 10 is a really bad card, so I'd check call here. I think you've still got the best hand here. So you can call and then lead the river for value, or check call, either one's fine. So when it's another 10, you can definitely bet like $3 here, or like $2.80, and get called by like jacks, 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 5s even. Yeah, so I think you missed a clear value bet. I think he's going to check back a lot of worse hands here. So yeah, good c-bet on the scary board. You've got absolutely no equity, so just shut down there. Yeah, so I don't like that turn barrel. King improves his range quite a bit. Obviously it's a scare card to the jack, but flush draws get there, queen 10 gets there, and ace is still never folding. Jack might still call. King queen obviously improves, stuff like that. And his weird floats like 8-9 are just going to fold anyway. Well, they won't stick around, sorry. So yeah, I don't like the double barrel, especially given you've got no equity. Yeah, so yeah, the ace is just never folding really. So yeah, I don't like the turn barrel. Is that suited ace? Or no? Yeah, it was offsuit, yeah, it's fine. Jack 10 suited is definitely playable enough to raise there. Jack 9 suited, I'd probably just call on the button here. We're kind of deep against, well, slightly more deep than 100 bigs deep against this guy. I'm really deep against this guy, who seems like a fish if he's going to limp call, so. So yeah, a bit of a tight fold, but I don't blame you for it. You nearly went for the call. Yeah, so I'm definitely squeezing ace queen off here. I think my sizing would be to like $1.35. Yeah, so calling here is way too like weak tight. Your hand's way too strong. Okay, good, you're going for it. $1 is way too small though. You don't want to see this flop 3 ways. You want to see it like heads up or for it to get through. Ace 6 off. I think this is a fold against a 3.5x open. Just half pot is big enough. Like you don't need to go any bigger. All you want to do is fold out like Jack 10 and pocket like 4s. Yeah, that's just unnecessarily big in my opinion. Because if he does have a pair like 9s, 8s, 7s, 6s, he's. I mean, the idea is we want 6s to fold. Those are the hands. 7s, 6s. 5s and 4s. I just think they're still going to call one street for like $1, but the other hands we want to fold, like 9-10 suited, Jack 10, they'll just fold to like $1. So I think $1, and then we're gonna barrel the turn for the small pocket pairs. So just bet $1 on this street and $2 on the next street. I think that's fine. The 9 isn't the greatest card for you to barrel. On the flop you can also check back. I think it's worth c-betting though. On this turn, I'd probably bet like $2, just to $2.20, just to threaten the river jam. And you river the ace, which is great, obviously. But yeah, our hands kind of face up, so we're gonna have to bet quite small to get value. King Jack is a fold. So I think $2 is about the max you can go, maybe like $1.50. Between $1.50 and $2 without a read on this guy. Like, it's pretty obvious you got a hand like Ace King. Yeah, I just think it's too big. I think he's going to fold a lot to that. Yeah. Yeah, 3-betting this is pretty good. Probably calling a 4-bet if he 4-bets. So here I'd half pot it for the same reason. You can check back, but in case it's got like Jack 10, 10-9, just like 90 cents, I think it's fine. So this is a good card to barrel if he's got 10s, 9s, 8s, 7s. So yeah, I'm definitely half potting it again, threatening the river bet. So I think he can still value bet, like, well, the flush gets there as well. He doesn't have many flush combinations in his range, but he still has some. So yeah, I think it's fine to shut down this card, but if I was him, I'd still bet like pocket 9s here, pocket 8s. So yeah, 5-6 suited. In the hijack, I'd open. Ace Jack off on the gun, I'd still open it. You seem to play pretty good post flop, so you shouldn't be scared to open Ace Jack off now. Set minding the 8s, obviously. It's kind of dry, but it's got a flush draw. I think you've got to check call the street. Don't think you can raise. I don't think you would raise many flush draws on this flop, so I'd lead for like 60 cents here, maybe even 70, given there's 2 flush draws. So I think 50 is too small into 2 people. If this guy calls and this guy's got a backdoor club draw, he's calling and getting really good odds, so make it bigger. Check call or check fold here. Given his last act, I'm definitely going to call once. Yeah, we're definitely going to check raise this card. So if you rip it in, he's calling $6 into 14, so I think that's fine. Yeah, I just jam it. And if he's got ace queen, he's not going to fold. Your hand looks really strong when you do the small raise. But he's going to level himself into calling more, so I guess it's fine. Or if you think he's bluffing, it kind of would help to have a read. Like, he's betting quite big with like Queen X when we've shown weakness, so I do expect him to be bluffing a decent amount here. So if I know this player can be bluffing in this spot, I'd probably just check call. The turn in the river, that is. But I think given the board texture, I think raising's better, because there's a lot of cards that's going to kill your action. Well, to be fair, there'll be good cards that will make him more inclined to bluff, like if it goes 4 to a straight, but at the same time, will make it very tough for you to hero call. So if he's bluffing with like an 8-9 type hand, well, he's going to think an 8 or a 9 benefit him, but it'll scare you if he's got. You might think he's got queen jack or something, and he still just goes for the jam to push off a 10 or a queen, or a weak queen. So yeah, definitely. So it would help to know how often this player is bluffing in the spot. Like I said, when he's betting that big into someone who's shown weakness, they're probably more inclined to be bluffing. So maybe it's a good spot to check call. But so yeah, if you think he's bluffing a lot, then check call. If you think he's betting for protection with a strong queen X, then just check jam. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that hand. 10-8 diamonds, I'm definitely going to call here. 5-7 hearts, probably just call, given the playability of our hand. But folding's fine as well, and this guy seems to be a reg, supernova, so you probably don't have much of an edge on him, and you're out of position. Yeah, 10-8 suited, I think you can definitely call that. The board's pretty wet, so I think betting like 40 to 50 cents is good here. If it was rainbow, I'd think the check call is better, just because you crush this flop so hard. So yeah, when he raises, just click it back a small amount, press the half pot button, and just press that and see what comes out. It's probably about the same sizing as that, to be honest. You got a pot size bet behind, just rip it in. He's probably got a draw, but it's not fault. Well, there's nothing you can do there. You've only got one option, and that's to bet all in my opinion. Checking and letting him see a free card is pretty bad. Betting small and him calling, and then when he spikes his card, he goes for stacks. And when he misses, you don't get any more value. So I think jamming is the only play there. It's possibly a hand you could 3-bet bluff out of the small blind. It's not strong enough to flat, and it's kind of on the verge of being too strong to fold. So yeah, just something to consider. But you don't need to be 3-bet bluffing much at 10 and L. But it's just nice to have it some of the time. Nice flop here, definitely betting. I think 50 is a bit too big given how dry the board is. Like the deuce and the 4 aren't going to affect him much. Yeah, 90 is good. Ace 4 off. It's probably like one of the worst hands I open a cutoff, but I still open it. Um, 10-9 suited, facing a 2x. I think I'm definitely playing that. Yeah, I definitely call there for a 2x. What's up? No, thank you.
I'll speak to that.
Yeah. A7 suited. I think flagging's fine against this particular opponent, short stack fish. For 10 cents, I think I'm going to raise, make it like 50. Okay, so we did have you outkicked. I just think 10 cents is way too small on such a like kind of wet flop with the flush draw and 3 to a straight. Again, reads would help. Like what are his tendencies when he min bets the flop? A lot of the times it will be like a draw, like Jack 9 of hearts or something like that. But if you know you can do it with top pair, decent kicker, then obviously your play should change. But yeah, you said that because your HUD wasn't working, you played a bit nittier, so I think it's probably okay, but I just think your hand's too strong and too vulnerable to just call a 10 cents bet there when he's getting like 7 to 1 on his money. So yeah, just call with ace 10 of diamonds. Ace queen of diamonds, probably raise here to isolate. You don't want loads of people coming in behind set mining, so make it like 90 cents. Yeah. Is that an offsuit ace against cutoff? Yeah, I think ace 6 off is. I think you can defend it. Yeah, I think you should probably. Well, I mean, if it was button, you definitely defend it. Cutoff, it's kind of borderline. Folding and calling are both fine, I think. I think it's standard. King Queen off against an early position open. It is a min open, so I'm more inclined to defend here. I would just flat. I wouldn't 3-bet because he looks a bit kind of fishy. So yeah, it looks like you're lining up a 3-bet. Not a massive fan of that play. If your hand was suited, maybe it would be a bit better because you've got like a bit more playability. I think offsuit. I think flatting's just a tiny bit better. So able to fold. If it was a 3x, I'd definitely agree with you, but because it was a min open, I think it's going to be a bit fishier and his range is going to be a bit weaker. So I would just defend there. I think you're miles ahead of his range. It's more like Queen Jack, 10-9, stuff like that. I think on this rainbow flop, I think you should bet a tiny bit smaller, 40 cents. I don't think you're playing your pocket pairs enough, the small ones. I think you can definitely play them in early position more. It's because you've got pretty decent implied odds against this number of players. Same as sixes. I mean, yeah, I think it's strong enough. Yeah, I'd open it. Okay. A6 in the cutoff is definitely an open if it folds to you. King 9 suited is obviously a call. Suited ace is too weak. Check calling King 9. Check calling again. Yeah, probably check calling the river. So he okay, that's interesting. He bet kind of quickly, half pot on the flop on the turn. When he starts tanking on the river, well, my read was that he was weaker, but I think he was just scared because the board got really wet, and you could have a lot of 2 pairs here. So yeah, I was going to say check call or bluff, but obviously my reader was wrong this time. But yeah, 10-9, 10-8 off is definitely an open here. King 6 suited, I would open that in the cutoff. The button is a fish though, so maybe that affects your decision. And that you're going to get called a lot. It's up to you. Definitely going to raise pocket 8s against the limper. Okay, set mine there. He's then suited. When it's suited, I would call this. There's so many people behind who might come along. Obviously, you got 2 Broadway cards, so you can hit that big straight, as well as the nut flush. And all you got to do is dodge the dominated ace. Your 10 can't be dominated in a way, unless they've got like pocket 10s. There's only one out to spike that, so your 10 is less dominated. Whereas if it was like King 10, the King and the 10 can be dominated by ace 10. So yeah. So yeah, just fold the pocket 8s. You've probably got a dominated flush draw. So you've got pretty bad reverse implied odds there. King 3 suited. This guy's quite deep, so I probably think he's a bit of a better player than normal. So it's definitely a candidate hand to 3-bet bluff with there. And against a good player, I'd expect a lot of folds. Yeah. Squeezing ace queen here, like to $1.30. Yeah, $1 is just way too small. They're going to be calling with a lot of junk. We've got the backdoor diamond draw, so I think c-betting here is good. $1 like 30 maybe. So if you're planning to check call this street, which I think you are, not in love with it. The queen, I mean your hand kind of goes face up if you just check call, well check the flop and then just bet the queen. So I think it's a good spot to just check as well, and then he might get inclined to protect his equity with like pocket sevens, pocket eights, pocket nines. Then you can just call. Whereas if you bet it, he's just going to fold them straight away. Because your hand kind of looks like ace king right now. The queen hits you less than it should. I mean, the queen hits you less than a king does, for example. So I think it's a good spot to check. You just call, and you can definitely value bet this river. Given he's called that, I would go quite big, like $3.20, $3.50, just because it looks like he's got a dominated queen, like king queen or queen jack. Diamonds did miss, but he might have the queen of diamonds, so maybe that would explain it. So basically, because diamonds missed, it's whether you want to decide to check and let him bluff, or just bet and getting called by a queen. So it would help to have tendencies. Assuming he's a 10 and L loose passive fish, betting's definitely play here. So $3, $3.50 would be my bet. So you've gone for the check. So yeah, like I said, it depends how many draws you put in his range. Given that he didn't stab the flop, you can kind of assume that he's more likely to be the loose passive kind of fish. So I think betting, given that information, would be better. So yeah, having a read would be helpful, basically. Jack 6 suited. It's probably on the borderline of defending it in some way or another. I think Jack 8 suited is where you start calling. Jack 7, Jack 6 are maybe potential hands you could 3-bet bluff with. He seems to be one of those players who's more likely to steal, given that he 2.5x the button rather than 3x. So yeah, just something to consider. Like what kind of hands you'd 3-bet bluff with there. Weak suited Jack, potential. Jack and suited I'd obviously open. I think you should wait there and see if it goes like 5 ways to the flop, 4 or 5 ways. Just because you can call and hope to hit trip 9s. But that's basically the only reason you'd play that hand. So yeah, this is a flat all day against 2 fish. You can't 3-bet from value. Well, you probably could, but you can't. You don't want to 3-bet ace jack and then face a 4-bet and have to fold. Although I do agree that, well, I do think if you 3-bet it, one of them will flat with worse. I just think your hand's going to play better in a single raise pot. So you got 2 overcards on the backdoor diamond, so I probably would call 1-bet here. You're not that deep, but I think it's still worth it. So yeah, you got to fold now, but close between checking back and betting. I think I prefer a check back here. This guy's got a kind of big stack, so I expect him to be a slightly better player. So I think checking back's better here. You got an ace of 8 of hearts, so yeah, I think checking back's better. Okay, you turn the nut card. I definitely bet this pretty well, probably like half pot. You are blocking some flush draws, so like 80 or 90 cents. Okay, that's good. Ace 9 off is just a flat here. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be flatting with ace 10, ace jack, and ace queen here. And your hand's got a tiny bit less playability because it's offsuit. So yeah, okay, we've got a tough decision in, well, a tough decision. We're never folding ace 8 here. His line just looks really strong. We just got to hope he's got ace 6. So we're going to call this and probably value bet the river pretty big. So yeah, this is another reason why our hand's way too strong to 3-bet fold. I mean, it's not that strong, but it's a bit too strong. So you got to fold it now, but I just think flatting would be better. So a hand that you can 3-bet fold here would be the Jack 6 suited hand. Yeah. So he checked it too. Yeah. So I don't think he's got pocket 6s as much here. I just think he'd wouldn't be as afraid on the river. Maybe a6. So yeah, I'd definitely go for like probably like 4 point. Like his range is quite inelastic. He's either going to call you or he's not. And given that heart's missed, I'd be more inclined to bet bigger. So I just go for like $5 here, and hopefully he calls with like a6. Obviously he can't have ace king because he didn't 3-bet pre-flop. And yeah, I just kind of feel like he's got a6 and he re-raised the turn for value, and then he kind of realized, oh crap, there's 2 other overcards to my 6. He might have those kind of 2 pairs. And if he's got pocket 6s, then so be it. There's not many combos of that. There's way more of a6, so I think betting like $5 and trying to make it look like a bluff is good here. So we've gone for the smaller size. I just think given that he's either calling or he isn't, all of his missed draws are just going to fold. I just think you missed out on a bit of value here in terms of when he does call. So he does call. So yeah, he had a6, so pretty spot on read from me. Yeah, I just think he was going to call a big bet there, so go for like $5. Yeah, 10 suited against one player I'd fold. So we're definitely going to check back jacks here. Yeah, the bet here is pretty bad. Like, why are you betting? You just ask yourself the question, why are you betting? You're a million miles ahead of pairs below you. And when you bet, you're only going to get called by a king x and an ace x hand. There's no flush draws out there. And yeah, wit jacks is way too strong to bet fold there, so that's a big mistake. Not big, but it's just a silly mistake. Suited real ace. Here I'd probably call because you're super deep against Sly Opus, who looks a bit fishy because he's playing on a tablet and he limps pre. You're going to be out of position. Oh, this guy limped as well. Okay, this guy might back raise, so I don't hate the fold as much. Yeah, ace-3 suited here. It's definitely a candidate hand to 3-bet bluff with. He's got 2 stars on show, so he might be a bit more of a regular player. Yeah, just something to consider. But obviously, if you're not gonna, I mean, you can flat because your hand's got decent playability. It's got the nut flush draw and it can draw to the wheel. And the ace high is quite good against other pairs, but you are dominated some of the time. Kind of depends on your read on these guys. If they're fish, then I'd like a call. If they're regs, who are going to be folding a lot and not paying off much, then I like a 3-bet. You look pretty strong, and it's just a good spot to. If you're going to choose a hand to 3-bet with, then that's a pretty good hand to do it with. You just fold Jack Queen suited. Oh, it's offsuit, okay. I think in the hijack, if it folds to you, I'd still open this. It's a bit loose, but I just back myself to play it well post flop. So against the fish, I wouldn't 3-bet bluff this. I probably would just fold it. I mean, it's close. Like when the guy's a fish, which he looks like, 'cause he's not full stacked. You can generally outplay post flop, but when the ace comes, you're generally going to pay off a couple of streets. So it is close. I think folding, calling, and 3-bet bluffing are all fine options there. So you brick pretty hard. You do have 3 to a straight and backdoor diamonds, so I wouldn't mind a check call. Yes, I wouldn't mind a float here. Don't hate the fold either. Ace jack off, I think you should open. Pocket 7s you can't value bet. I think it played it good. Here I'd call. I don't think I'd raise. I just hope to flop something big against Donny. 3 betting and flatting. I think I prefer 3 betting over flatting here. I wouldn't raise here. I just let him bluff into you. Yeah, so I think that's a big mistake. Because when you raise, he's only going to pay you off. I mean, he is going to pay you off with the other ace, which is lower. So like ace deuce. So you're beating ace 3, ace 5, 6, ace 7, 8, ace 8. You're beating 5 and you're losing to 10, jack, queen, king. Beating 5 and losing to 4. Okay, I guess it's fine. You're ahead more often than not. Then he's got he's got a few full houses like ace deuce and ace 4. Okay, it's probably about break even plus the dead money. I just think allowing him to bluff will increase the value of this hand. It's just check call like all 3 streets. This is a pretty rare situation where you ISO the fish and then this guy just wakes up with a big hand. It's another reason. Well, it's so rare that it shouldn't really scare you, but your hand isn't strong enough to defend against this play. It is strong enough against this guy to raise, so I don't hate your 4x. Yeah, obviously we're folding this. Just a little caveat, which is a bit annoying. So I think over limping is also an option there. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, we're going to 4x that. Yep, good. Definitely see about this with 2 overcards, backdoor not flush draw, and a gut shot. 50 cents is fine, yeah. So yeah, into 2 people, we don't want to see bet this hand on this kind of flop. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's a good bet size. You do look really strong, but I think given the board texture, you got to bet it that big. What the hell? I think you just folded a suited 7-9 in the small blind. It was offsuit, but I still think you should raise this blind versus blind. Jack 10 suited there, I mean, you've got to play it. It flops so good, plays so well, makes some massive hands. Definitely calling here. I think calling there is fine. Yeah, bet shutting down is good here. And yeah, we just snap this off. He's gonna have a busted draw like every time. Definitely call here, given it's a 2x pot. King 8 off on the button is definitely an open. This is a fold. You're kind of deep. If this guy was as deep as you 2 are, I'd definitely call, but I just think under the circumstances, I don't think you're always going to get a stack in this spot, so I think you should fold. I mean, it's just really speculative. You're only hoping for one flop, and that's a flop with a 4 on it. I don't think your hand's strong enough to flat, so this is another potential hand to 3-bet bluff with. He looks kind of reggy. Yeah, I mean, I don't really like your flat. It dominates quite a lot. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, so we check, so you're probably good. I think given how dry the board is, I like a check here as well. It will keep your hand, like, disguised. So yeah, we can definitely bet this street. if it was checked to us. So yeah, well, now we can easily bet for value just because all the draws missed, and I think he's got like kings through to tens or something. So I would bet like $2.20 just to make it look like a busted draw. So you're going for the small size. I don't see him just betting the turn with absolutely no equity. So I do think you're going to get called a lot here, but I personally would like to make it look like a busted draw. So when I've got like Jack 9 of clubs or like Jack 10 of clubs, 9-10 suited, I would bet the bigger size, so that's why. Oh, he's got 7-8, he says. Okay. So against this particular hand, it seems like you've bet a good sizing, but okay, he seems pretty nice. Definitely call this versus a 2x. So you've gone for the ISO. I don't hate it. The stack to pot ratio is still pretty small. I mean big, but it's still got a lot behind given how small the 3-bet is. So I think it's fine. Definitely going to defend King 10 here. A6 off is unopen there. I think that fold of Ace 5 suit is fine. So I would open that, said it before. Fold that, fold that. Okay, so yeah, just to summarize, I think you open a bit too tight in some spots. It's definitely not a bad thing really. I just think you can probably play well post flop and still win money that way. And then some of the times you make some weird plays pre-flop with like the ISO with King 9 off. And sometimes you call with a dominated ace like Ace 9 suited like you did at the end of this video, and then sometimes you fold it. Well, most of the time you fold it. So just some consistency would be good, I guess. Yeah, overall pretty good. I think a couple of bet sizings were an inch too small, but yeah, generally I play most of these hands quite similar. Also, I think 3-betting out of position near the start of this video, the first like half, it came up a lot more, and I just make it like a couple of big blinds bigger. And yeah, maybe defend the big blind a bit more against like button and cutoff opens. Hands like King 9 off and King 10 off. Weak aces, I think they're worth defending with. Otherwise, you'll be folding too many of the big blinds. Yeah, it's a pretty good session. No massive mistakes that I haven't pointed out. So yeah.